Maps can be used in a lot of ways to show a lot of different kinds of information. For this project, we made two maps. One that focused on a small area but packed in a lot of information, and one showing less information but covering a wider geographic area. Each had its own challenges. For the smaller map, we wanted to show all of the land within the footprint of the proposed National Geospatial Intelligence Agency development. We wanted to show who owned which piece of land, whether or not the taxes were paid on that land last year, and how much tax was owed on each parcel. To start, we had a list of all of the parcels that were within the footprint, but the list was contained in an image file, making it impossible for the computer to distinguish individual letters. We tried to use OCR, optical character recognition, to convert it to text. This tells the computer to act kind of like a human's eye, to distinguish shapes and identify them as letters the way we would. But we often use context to distinguish between similar characters like an O and a 0, something computers are not as good at. So we needed another solution. Using a framework called Django, I built a tool into which we could quickly type the parcel numbers and recruited a number of reporters to help. Once the numbers were in this format, it was simple to associate them with the data also provided by the city to find the information we were looking for. The final step was to create the map you can find on our site. For an interactive map like this, there are three parts: the collection of shapes that represent the maps, the data file containing the parcel numbers and tax information, and the code that puts the two together, creating a map that includes features like zooming, highlighting, and displaying information when you hover over parts of the map. The large map presented a different challenge. We needed to know only whether a piece of property was owned by Northside Regeneration or not, and if any taxes were owed. And of course, we wanted to show the entire city, not only a small part. The shape file, the file that represents the actual map, was huge and contained 129,000 shapes, while the file with the data representing every parcel in the city had more than 140,000 entries. So we had to simplify, which meant eliminating the data we didn't need and representing the data we did need more efficiently. We pared down the data file to just 4 pieces of information: the parcel number, an ID representing the corresponding shape on the map, whether or not the property taxes were owed, and if the parcel was owned by Northside Regeneration. The last part was a little more difficult than it should have been, because Northside Regeneration LLC was spelled 30 different ways in the city's records. Despite having simplified the file, it was still too large to display on our website the way we did the smaller one. There were just too many shapes. So again, we went searching for another solution. And in the end, we essentially turned it into a giant image. Online maps look like they're one seamless piece that you can drag around and zoom in and out of, but they're really a series of small tiles. The computer figures out which area you're trying to look at, and chooses to show you only the tiles that will fit inside the window on your screen and nearby, making calculations as you move around the map. I used a program called TileMill to load shapes and the data, painting the shapes different colors depending on the data. The program then sliced up the image into tiles and grouped the different zoom levels together. Finally, we created the map on our site. This time we only had 2 pieces, the image tiles and the code, which meant the code only needed to figure out which tiles it needed to display and then show them. And now the maps are available to you. We hope that this kind of visual tool helps you better understand the stories we report and the impact of those stories on the community.